Welcome back. You're watching the late night news. Following the Adarsh land scam, the BJP had been very loud and clear in its message to the Congress, but there is a new land scam ruining BJP's peace. Allegations of Karnataka Chief Minister Yediyurappa misusing his power to get his son's prime residential and industrial land worth crores of rupees is the latest in what is turning out to be a season of land scams. The latest incident which has come to light involves his son B.Y. Raghavendra, who also happens to be a member of the parliament from Shivamogga. The first instance is of him and his brother B.Y. Vijendra, both sons of the chief minister, floating a firm and getting land allotted within a record 15 days.
ರಾಜಕಾರಣಿಗಳ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅಥವಾ ರಾಜಕಾರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋರು ಒಂದು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ರಿಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರದಾ ಒಂದು ಆಟೋಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದು ನಿಜ ಇದೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನೂನು ಮೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾವುದು.
The interlocutors appointed by the Centre on Kashmir are on their second visit to the valley, and speaking to NDTV, one of the interlocutors, Radha Kumar, said it's necessary to engage Pakistan in solving the Kashmir dispute. She also said they have recommended the release of political prisoners in the state.
The years in which Pakistan was engaged in a peace process, which were the years 2003 to 6, we saw considerable improvement in the situation on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir. We also were very close to a framework for a political settlement. We would like to resume a dialogue from the point at which it was left off, which is coming close to a framework. Unfortunately, thus far, the Pakistani government has shown a certain disinclination to resume the process from where it left off, and I hope they will change their position.
And on the home front, is the state government and central government on the same page? Do you talk to both, state and the central government, or report to them?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We report to both the central and the state government.
Now, the Delhi Airport, Jet Airways and Kingfisher shifted domestic operations to the swanky New Terminal 3 today. The shift of Air India to the new terminal last week was not too smooth, as there were cancellations and hours of delay. But today, with 2 more airlines moving to the new terminal, there were a few hiccups. At least 2 jet flights and a Kingfisher flight was delayed this morning. Also, some passengers had to wait for about an hour for their luggage. In some international news, Burma's pro-democracy leader Suu Kyi has addressed a large crowd of supporters in Rangoon a day after her release from her house arrest. She told her supporters not to give up hope. She said that she believed in human rights and the rule of law and would continue to fight for it, and that she had no ill feeling towards those who detained her. The Nobel Peace Prize winner has been detained for 15 of the past 21 years. Bunch of individuals who put together a fascinating evening of quizzing that would leave you racking your brains. That's what our reporter Natasha tells us.
Oh, hello there. Did you know Wenlock and Mandeville are the 2 mascots for the London Olympics 2012? Well, I certainly didn't either. And there's always more than a thing or two that you could possibly learn from a Q&A session like this one called Mind Crushers. Now, there's really no surprise as to why they've really called it that. So without further ado, let's head on inside, because it's time for the battle to begin.
If you were a member of the audience, then it was time to don that thinking cap. Because what unraveled at the Mutta Subbarao Concert Hall wasn't any ordinary battle of the intellect, but between those vying for supremacy. The Mind Crushers 2010 was a sure-shot platform at having your grey matter tested. A grueling Q&A session over 2 hours, leaving the winners themselves a bit swamped.
There was one question involving bald men and wigs. We still can't figure out if they were bald first and wore wigs later, or they had hair, and it's all very puzzling. I mean, there was hair in there somewhere, that's all we can say.
Speaking of great minds, we have someone here who's quite frankly called a genius by many a person in the world. So, Vishy, really, was there any one question that you found absolutely fascinating?
I think I found all of them fascinating. I think that's the beauty of quizzes, where they try to find really difficult questions that force you to sort of rack your brains and try to remember the answers. And of course, you have this feeling of suddenly remembering a lot of old school textbooks.
But the mastermind of this all, the man holding the reins that crush minds, was the quiz master himself.
See, the whole purpose of this quiz is that, you ask a puzzle and then get the answer from the people. So if they're moving a little away, you try if they're going left, you bring them right. And
so those little clues and hints are part and parcel of the rule book?
Well, it's an unwritten rule book as long as I'm not, being partial in this.
So the quiz master now, he has to have a whole set of skills really to hold the Q&A session together. But if given a chance, would you ever step into his shoes?
Yeah, why not? But I think I'd really have to prepare it, because you can see he's not just sort of memorize the questions and answers. You have to be familiar with the topic. But it was fascinating.
So that being said, after 8 rounds of racking brain cells, Team 2, aka the QED, reigned supreme, winning by a whooping 57 points. Looks like Vishy's presence finally did work its magic for a special few after all. In Chennai, Natasha for NDTV Hindu.
Time for a quick break, but on the other side, the legendary lyricist turns 80 and we pay a tribute to his contribution.